Thanks for staying with us on Channels Television. A warm welcome to you. You're watching the news at 5. I'm Oyo Balogun. The Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, Mr. Oyo, says the company is making good progress with record oil and gas production levels being recorded. He made this known during a meeting with President Bola Tinubu in Lagos, where he explained that he briefed the president on several issues, including attracting investment to the sector. The NNPCL boss also touched on the negative impact of the face-off between Dangote Refinery and Pengassin and the recent increase in the price of gas.
We recorded about 1.68 million barrels per day of oil production last month, which was very good. That was the first in about 5 years in terms of milestones. We also recorded the highest gas production at about above 7 BCF per day again, which is also the highest in recent times. But what we're also expecting is that with some of the turnaround maintenances that we've done in the month of August and September, all of those are meant to come back this month. And we are hoping that before the end of the year, we should at least be clocking at least 1.8 million barrels per day, all things being equal. I think it was quite unfortunate that the Dangote and Pengassin issue led to the strike. And as you know, whenever there's strike and critical staff manning critical facilities are not available, it's almost impossible. In this particular case, we actually lost significant production of almost over 200,000 barrels per day of production that was deferred. We also have gas production that was deferred, and power generation also was impacted. About 1.2 megawatts of power was affected by that strike. But I think I'm very pleased that the federal government, through the leadership of the Federal Minister for Labor and also full support from the National Security Advisor, we're able to pull together everyone into a dialogue and bring everybody to the table. And now there's been a communique that has been agreed on the way forward. We're all very hopeful that everyone will abide by those communiques.
Nearly 2 decades after the federal government's power sector reforms began, Nigeria is still far from the 30,000 megawatts target set in 2005. A former president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Mr. Tasiu Gidadu Wudil, says political interference, weak regulation and mismanagement continue to stall the progress of the reform. He made this known at the 29th October lecture of the Society in Abuja, where engineers called for greater accountability and stronger citizen responsibility to help end the country's cycle of darkness. Our correspondent Benny Ark reports.
The 29th October lecture series of the Nigerian Society of Engineers is focusing on the power sector reforms and the role of engineers in national development. The event attracts policymakers, industry experts, past presidents of the society, and other stakeholders seeking sustainable solutions to the nation's electricity challenge. In her opening address, the president of the society, Mrs. Margaret Oguntala, described the lecture as a platform for engineers to shape national discourse and offer practical solutions.
As engineers, we believe these are not abstract problems. They are real, technical, and solvable challenges that we must rise, and we must rise to the occasion. It is my strong belief that governments at all levels must begin to more deliberately engage Nigerian engineers to prefer practical, scalable, and homegrown solutions to our challenges.
This year's lecture, tagged Evaluating Nigeria's Power Sector Reforms from 2005 to 2023, is delivered by a former president of the society who laments the progress in the power sector.
The distribution companies have failed to realize that their problem is also internal. Internally, the staff are conniving. Some staff are conniving. Initially, they said there is the legacy NEPA staff. They sacked all the NEPA staff. And now, even the new staff they have, they connive to bypass meters, they connive to do illegal connections, and you cannot stop them. So it means we, as the people, we have to talk to ourselves. If we want electricity, we have to do the right thing.
He identified political interference, weak regulation and mismanagement as major setbacks, alongside illegal connections and power theft. He called for more accountability, internal reforms in distribution companies, and active citizen responsibility.
By now, according to the Electric Power Sector Reform Act, we should have been far more than 30,000 megawatts injected into this country. But due to so many factors, political interference in the running of the sector, the failure of some of the stakeholders, the regulator at that time, now we have many regulators. We have federal regulator, that's the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. We have state regulators in 11 states, and more are coming. So the case of the progress in the power sector after the start of the reform is nothing to write home about.
The lecture closed with a call for greater engagement of engineers in policymaking to achieve lasting solutions for the power sector. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
The federal government and the Taraba state governments have jointly begun interventions to reduce the rising cases of maternal and neonatal deaths in the state. Now, this intervention follows a discovery by the federal government that 5 local government areas of Taraba contribute more than 55% of the country's maternal and neonatal mortality.
It's the activation of the fight against maternal and neonatal mortality campaign in 5 local government areas of Taraba State. According to the Federal Ministry of Health, the 5 areas contribute over 55% of the country's maternal and neonatal deaths. Ardo Kola local government area is the first council to be visited by the team made up of officials from the federal and state government. Pregnant women in the area could not hold their joy as they celebrate the initiative. The initiative is under the Maternal and Neonatal Mortality Reduction Innovative Initiative Program, where key drivers of maternal and neonatal deaths in the area were identified.
We are here to ensure that every pregnant woman knows her right to live. The pregnant woman has the right to live, and a baby, as he is born, he or she is born, has the right to live and live to his or her full potential.
Any pregnant woman who develops obstetric emergency that requires cesarean section, there are comprehensive emergency obstetric and neonatal care, and I recommend that these hospitals should be made known to the primary healthcare centers that woman would get free cesarean section. She will be delivered. She will be operated for free without a charge.
The federal government hopes to scale up awareness, access and utilization of quality healthcare services, especially in rural areas.
Our collective responsibility is to translate initiatives such as the MAMI initiative to tangible outcomes that reduce maternal and child mortality, strengthen community resilience, and advance our journey towards universal health coverage.
Other local governments identified with a high burden include Zing, Gashaka, Usa and Lao. Some of the traditional rulers are getting on board with the latest effort to address the challenge.
In my community, the headquarters of Sangwe Chiefdom, because of the problem we have, the bad road network, we've lost about 4 women at the cause of maternal mortality. You can see how dangerous it is, and you can see how bad it is. So we want to appreciate the Executive Governor of Taraba State for giving us this platform, for all the stakeholders to come here, brainstorm, and come out with a very good results, a robust engagement that will help us to revitalize the health sector in Taraba State.
To ensure that the program is sustained, a task force was set up to drive the implementation of the initiative. The committee is led by the State Commissioner for Health with the assistance of the Executive Secretary of the State Primary Healthcare Development Agency.
A coalition of northern pressure groups under the auspices of the National Muslims Youth Association is urging the National Assembly to consider a bill before it that seeks to take away the powers of the president and state governors to appoint chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission at state or at federal level. The group blames the lack of transparency and accountability in Nigeria's electoral system on the governors and president, whose political interests that they say often interferes with those of the electoral umpire. Now, according to them, the introduction of the technology, such as the bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS, will not give citizens the desired outcomes unless the current structure that allows governors and the president to appoint the head of the electoral system is changed.
We agree with Senator Obiora that honest elections are impossible in Nigeria, with the president and the governors continuing to wield the power of appointing the electoral bodies. Since they or their political parties are usually contestants in the same elections, there is no doubt it is the absence of honest election in Nigeria that has led directly to the mass poverty and gross underdevelopment we have in the nation today. BVAS and IREV would not solve the problem of election rigging in Nigeria without the impartiality and integrity of the electoral body, as those two systems are vulnerable to manipulation. It has therefore become necessary to amend the Constitution towards establishing the new INEC, composed by independently and neutrally appointed commissioners and officers in order to ensure competence, impartiality, integrity, and hence free and fair elections. We call on the National Assembly to consider and pass Senator Ikechukwu Obiora's draft bill for the amendment of the Constitution, for the establishment of the new INEC, and thereafter to work with the state assemblies and the presidency to bring the proposed amendment to fruition.
Let's talk party politics now in Edo State, where the People's Democratic Party has witnessed another state congress, this time from the faction loyal to the National Vice Chairman South-South, Dan Obi. The parallel congress, which held in Benin City, the Edo State capital, saw 576 delegates elect Nosa Ogieva as the state chairman, with Hilary Otsu as the secretary. Speaking during the event, the PDP chieftain, Dan Obi, explained the recent gale of defections and the lingering crisis in the party is as a result of leadership failure. He adds that the crisis in Edo State was caused by former Governor Godwin Obaseki.
All right. There is no doubt that PDP is going through leadership crisis, both at the national, our state, and several other states. Let us not deceive ourselves. For the first time in the history of our great party, we have elected governors of PDP and founding leaders, founding members of this party, leaving this party every day for one simple reason: failure of leadership. I challenge anybody in this party to tell us whether the leadership as it is today has actually given direction to this party so that we can continue to build on the foundation of the founding fathers of this party. Elected governors are leaving. Elected senators are leaving. Elected members of the House are leaving. In Edo State, we know the root of our problem. We had a united party where everybody related with one another as brothers and sisters, until Godwin Obaseki joined our party. Obaseki destroyed our party. He sowed the seeds of discord.
When we come back after the break, APC members in Oyo State move to unite ahead of the 2027 general elections. Please join us again. Welcome back. Now, the All Progressives Congress in Oyo State is uniting its members as preparations intensify ahead of the 2027 general elections. As on-the-ground efforts intensify to secure victory for the APC ahead of the 2027 polls, the political atmosphere in Oyo State is becoming increasingly active as groups continue to form alliances. And as part of this move, the Remi Oseni Committee of Friends and the APC Progressives Group, two major support groups within the party, have formed a new alliance to strengthen the APC structure and strategy.
Seeing is believing. From what we have seen here, we will discover that all leaders of progressive that really mean business, that have been always deliver us in every election, they are here now. And that is the reason why we believe that. Look at the numbers of people from all over 33 local governments. They are here. If you look at any other meeting, there is no one that is as stronger as this one, and that really contains this political substance that can deliver Oyo State in 2027. The stakeholders should ensure that we all come together towards the progress of political development in Oyo State, and to ensure that we work together to be able to deliver in the year 2027. And apart from that one, they should try as much as possible not to impose any candidate on us. So with these two groups, formidable groups coming together, I am sure we are in position to move mountain by the grace of God. And I am sure 2027, we will be in position to deliver not less than 1 million votes for President Bola Ahmed in 2027. People have been asking about my aspiration. My aspiration is secondary. When you work for people, you are indirectly working for yourself. So when my father succeeded, I have succeeded.
We're in Lagos. Now, the state government has asked the residents of the state to create a culture of cleanliness and eradicate plastic waste. Now, this is according to the General Manager of the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, Dr. Babatunde Ajayi, who made this comment at the 2025 Inter-School Environmental Competition. It says the crucial role of young people in shaping a sustainable future through innovation and environmental stewardship, and such initiatives must be embraced by schools in addressing plastic pollution.
Senior Grammar School.
Students from public and private secondary schools converge on Alausa Ikeja for the 2025 Inter-School Environmental Competition, organized by the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency and its partners to identify students that will drive the change needed to achieve a cleaner environment in Lagos.
About 5 years ago, a secondary school student, besides the public school students, died as a result of plastic pollution due to flooding.
The competition, called Project 2.0, showcased the ingenuity of students who have ideas that could offer solutions to the growing challenge of plastic pollution.
When the environment is littered with plastic waste, it gets carried away by winds and rain to drainage.
Plastic pollution poses danger to everyone, and the Lagos State government says collaborative efforts are highly needed to tackle the menace.
We say Project Solve because it's not just about the event today, it is actually a project. This year's edition, we're saying towards a future with zero plastic pollution. So that's what we're working towards.
Because if the environment is bad, nobody can stay there. If there's pollution beyond human threshold, people will start dropping. And we don't want that in our hands. So that's why we are asking that people have to be intentional. We have to be able to do these things and do it as if, no, my life depends on it. It's not about government telling you to do these things. They are asking for self-regulation.
LASEPA says the competition is aimed at making students environmental advocates across the state.
This is an amazing one. We're excited about it. We see the value in driving our messages to the students and through them to their parents. So we think that these kinds of things should continue. Other NGOs and institutions should follow suit. People should be more involved in environmental preservation and conservation.
The talented students from 10 different schools also had the opportunity to present their products made with plastic waste, among others. At the end of the competition, Okera Senior Grammar School emerged overall winner receiving 500,000 naira in cash prize to support its sustainability project and recommits itself to building a cleaner, greener, and more sustainable Lagos.
Welcome to Business News. The Debt Management Office has opened the October 2025 Federal Government Savings Bond offer with interest rates of 14.06% and 15.06% for 2- and 3-year tenors. The offer runs from October the 6th to the 10th with settlement on October the 15th. Rates declined from 15.54% and 16.54% in September following the central bank's cut in policy rates to 27%. Each bond unit is priced at 1,000 naira with a minimum investment of 5,000 naira. The DMO says the bonds remain a safe, steady option for Nigerians seeking regular income. With challenges such as leakages in revenue and cost of governance at both national and subnational levels seen to be eroding the gains of the Tinubu-led administration's reforms, an economic expert has pointed out some factors that can help to correct the situation. According to Mr. Ogbonna Okuku, who was a guest on our Business Morning program, these dual solutions will be more beneficial to the people if implemented by the government.
We must have that confluence, the confluence economic development plan. So that means each of the subnationals and the federal government must sit together, and then we have a plan. Looking at, and that plan would, look at, areas of comparative advantage for each of the states, and then see how they can develop thus. That number two, the citizenry has always been a very big problem, because I always say from a state of anarchy to a centralized state, you need to have those set of rules. You must have leadership, and then that's the people who will manage the rules. And then the most important part is actually the citizenry. And the key factor is the well-informed citizenry. Now, the citizens have to understand that at this time is no more just the federal government providing, doing all the basic infrastructure for you. Everybody's talking about the president or the government at the center. Now, more monies are being released. Yes, my colleague there said, yes, we need to put it out there how much each of the states is, states how much they are receiving. Now, if the subnationals are receiving funds and then they are not working with those funds, so there has to be some level of accountability and efficiency within the subnationals.
Meanwhile, the call for accountability on the part of government has once again come to the fore in order to address the issue of multi-dimensional poverty at subnational level. This recommendation was made by the Chief Executive Officer of RTC Advisory Services Limited, Mr. Okpeyemi Agbaji, who was also a guest on our Business Morning program earlier today. Made this known while referring to the continued increase in federal allocations to state governments amid reports that Nigeria received a total of $876 million support from the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, last year.
We have all these things we are reeling out that the president has done and the outcomes that we're seeing. But unfortunately, the president is not the class captain of governors. He's not the supervisor of governors. The supervisor of governors is their state houses of assembly and the political system in the states and in the local government. Unfortunately, we have work to do in establishing the pillars of accountability at the subnational level. And that's not, I think that one of the things that from experience we can suggest that perhaps we may consider at the federal level is publishing how much we gave you and just monthly publishing everything, so that then your systems can then, the systems established at the state level, the elites of the state, the elders of the state, the political system in the state, the voters of the state. But I think generally we can agree that at the state level we need a little bit more political governance accountability.
The number of rig counts in the upstream sector has sustained upward trajectory as it climbed to 69 as at October the 2nd from 8 in 2021. This is according to latest reports from the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission. In a statement sent to journalists, the NUPRC explains that the significant rise in active rigs reflects renewed investor confidence and demonstrates the growing stability of Nigeria's petroleum industry. The Petroleum Industry Regulator also says that as part of its achievements in the past 4 years, the host community development trusts have remitted 122.34 billion naira, while dollar contributions stand at over $168.91 million within the first few days of this month. And that's news at 5. Many thanks for watching. I'm Ayo Balogun.